So Andrew Ladd, he was a hedge fund employee that got fired from his hedge fund, but he had the idea that the CDS trade would be great, or this betting against the housing market would be great. Got fired from his hedge fund, thought he was going to be able to raise money, wasn't able to really raise the money he wanted, and then you can take it from there, Karan.
Sure. So Andrew Ladd, he ended up raising a bit of money at that point, and there's a lot about him mentioned in the book. Most of the stuff is okay. It's he's a young guy, made a lot of money betting against this. He had to convince a few investors. Same story as pretty much everyone else. But one point really stood out to me because it's something someone I consider a mentor had told me this a while back. And that person was like, before getting into a situation, figure out how to get out. And Andrew Ladd had mentioned that he only focused on CDS protection on the ABX index rather than the mortgage-backed security pools because the index was a lot more actively traded and it would be easier to exit. His first thought was that, okay, once I make the money, how do I get out? And I feel like that's something a lot of investors, especially new investors, don't really think about. How do I get out of a position? It's something that a lot of people don't have to deal with. But yeah, it's something very interesting to think about.
Yeah,
do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you've really influenced me on that because we've talked stocks before, and I've talked about different options, ideas I've had, and one of the things you brought up is like, okay, well, what's going to happen, or you're going to run out of time with that option. How do you get out of it once a merger is announced or something like that? So you've really influenced me there. And at the end, if you go back to just stocks are ownership in a business, but they're also a product that trades between individuals. And if you plan to get out of a stock, there's got to be somebody else in the market that wants to buy it from you at the price you want to sell it for. So I do think about that. I think about like, okay, what would someone else see in this situation or in this business? Why would someone be willing to pay me 5 times or double what I'm buying it for? And then when you deal with super small companies, you have to worry about that as well, because there's just less investors out there that would be attracted to them. So yeah,
and I feel like a lot of people just blindly regurgitate whatever Buffett says about, if you're a small investor, you should always be in small illiquid microcaps. The fact is, they don't realize that when Buffett was saying that, he's saying it from the perspective of someone who can go and get a controlling interest in a company, right? He's not illiquid because essentially, if it doesn't work out, he's able to kind of take control of the business and get cash out of the business at some point, or figure out something else. It's not like someone goes into like a 50 million market cap company with like a $50,000 investment and they're like, yeah, I'm in an illiquid micro cap, and I'm making a good choice. People don't realize that sometimes the bid is not going to be favorable. The spread sometimes is enough to wipe out a lot of your returns. And we see this a lot with international investments also. There's not a perfect market for it. Someone might not even be willing to buy what you're selling. So a lot of risk over there, a lot of illiquidity risk that most new investors don't consider.
Yeah, and Buffett also says if you own something, be willing to hold it for 10 years if the stock market was closed. So yeah, we'll move on to
control. So
yeah,
big difference. Yeah.